Hi, this is Debbie Boyer, and in this video segment, we're going to talk about a great resource for educators known as Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is a social networking site, a very large one, that allows educators from across the globe to share resources. So you can set up and follow people from your school, or you can follow different organizations or individuals that you may or may not even know. But when we're looking at Pinterest, you can get a free account at www.pinterest.com, and you'll use an email address to set up that account, and it'll ask you to choose 5 boards just to get started. You might choose education as the category, and then just choose 5 that might interest you. You can always delete those at any time. But once you have an account set up, and you can choose whether or not to put a picture there with your account, you're going to see in the top right-hand corner your name, and that's kind of your home page, if you'll think about it that way. So anyone can see anything on your home page, but this is where I'm going to manage my different boards and pins. So when we're looking at Pinterest, they have different boards. You can see here that I have learning, iPads and BYOT, learning blogs. So all of these are different boards that I've set up to store things that I'm interested in. If you'll think of a board as a bulletin board where I can pin different ideas and different pictures and different things onto so that I can come back later and be able to retrieve those and use them or see them. You can also think about the boards as a file folder. So there's a folder or a board, and I'm going to put things in that folder or pin things to the board. So I have educational boards, and you can see that some of them are related to technology with iPads and BYOT and smart boards and videos and Google, but you can see too that I've set up boards for anchor charts and expository text, mentor text, reading, writing, emotional literacy. You can see management and procedures for the classroom, and then math, science, and social studies. And they all start with learning, and you don't have to set yours up that way, but that's how I designate which ones are educational and which ones are personal. Because when I come over and look at words of wisdom, these are a collection of quotes that I have found on Pinterest that I really enjoy. And you can see I have 357 pins that have to do with words of wisdom. Table for 2 are recipes, and when I go to the grocery store now, oftentimes I don't take a shopping list with me. I'll just open up my app on my phone and come to Table for 2 and find the recipe and buy the ingredients that I need. Oh, the places we will go have to do with travel places I want to go to someday. So you can see that I've merged my personal and my learning resources right here on one page. So boards are the big area, the pins are the things that go inside it. So when I'm looking at learning iPads and BYOT and I click on that board, you can see that there are 129 pins in this board, and I can look through and get some ideas and remind myself, or I can actually go out and click on the pin and open it up and click again, and it's going to take me out to the website Storynori, which was connected with that pin. So it lets me go to websites, it lets me go to recipes, lets me go to all kinds of different things. So when I'm coming back to Debbie, which is my home landing page, you'll see that from here I have 46 boards. You can see how many pins I have, but you can also see how many people are following me and how many people I'm following. So when you click on the following, you can look through and see all the folks that I'm following that are following me. Some you're going to recognize probably from around the district and in the area, but you can choose to follow them at any time by clicking on follow, and you can choose to unfollow at any time just by clicking on unfollow. So you can scroll through and search different folks and see what kinds of things that they're pinning. So when I have a group of followers and I want to see what's going on, in the top left-hand corner you're going to see a red icon with 3 little white lines, and I'm going to click on that, and this is actually my home feed. So all of the followers that I follow, anything that they pin is going to show up on my home feed. So you can see that we, our teachers, pinned this. I can choose to just look through and browse, or I can go in at any time and add these forms of energy to my science area if I want to. So I can come in and click on forms of energy. I can click on pin it, and it's going to ask me what board of mine I want to pin it to, and I'm going to choose learning and science. And I just put that pin in my learning science folder so that I can get back to it at any time. I can also come in and look in this area too and search by category. So the home theater people that I'm following, education, will pull up all kinds of pins from all over the world that have to do with education. If I want to, I can be very specific, and in what are you into, I'm going to click here and do a search. And this time I'm going to search for something that has to do with Texas history. And when it pulls up, these are all of the pins that have to do with Texas history. But I can also click on boards. And under boards, I'm going to see there are boards set up specifically that have to do with Texas history. And I can tell this one is created by Kristen Callahan, and she has 102 pins in there. So I think that one looks interesting. I'm going to go in and look at what has to do with Texas history out here. And when I scroll down, I can see all of these historical figures in. There's just all kinds of things, and I can just look, or I can pin and set up my own board for Texas history. So let's say I like the Alamo. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to come in and choose to pin it. But right now, I want a board that has to do with Texas history and not just put it into social studies. So when I come and choose, I could choose a social studies board, or I can create a new board called Learning and Texas history. And I'm going to create that board. I'm going to give it a brief description. I can use what's already there, or I can change that. And then I'm going to pin it, and it's going to add it to my page. So when I come back over to Debbie and look at my profiles and pins, when I look at the very bottom of the page, I'm going to see there is the new board that I added called Learning and Texas History, and it has one pin, and the first pin that I put in will actually be the cover for that board. So if I grab this board, I have all of my personal items at the bottom, and I want it to be up at the top, right in with all the other learning areas. I can drag it and drop it at any time and place it on my board wherever I want it to be, and it'll just remain there. I can now add more pins to that board, and I can do more searches. If I want to search for people or pins or boards, I can do that from this area. I can also add a new board by clicking on the plus sign right here and keep choosing to add more boards. When I'm looking up in the top right hand corner next to my name, do you see how it has that little 2 out beside it? And when I click on that, it's going to give me a history of people who have posted, repinned my pins, or who have started following me. And you can tell that I just pinned that Alamo to my Texas history, and Julia Dalton, who I have no idea who that is, pinned it to her board as well. I can look down and see that Sarah Lee Whitmer and I follow each other and pin, and Daniel Bridges pinned something of mine. And so I can look through and kind of see the activities from my board from that little pin place there at the top. I very seldom use Pinterest on the computer. I use it on my iPad and my phone, and whatever I pin in one place goes to the other. And so you might find that the apps are more user-friendly to you as you're working with Pinterest. I hope that you'll take some time and set up an account and start following some folks and collecting some resources and putting this great tool to use for your classroom. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. So have a great pinning day and enjoy everything that you find.